The San Francisco 49ers beat the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland today for the first time since 1984 with the 26-8 victory. A resounding win for the Niners going into the bye week, and they have to be feeling really good about themselves 13 weeks through the season. This is the 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for hanging out and stopping by. Before we dive into so much that we have to get into here tonight, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for nonstop daily Niners coverage. Anytime I'm in front of a camera, on a microphone, talking about San Francisco, I want our content to be insightful, informative, entertaining, thought-provoking. I want you to have a voice. So if all that sounds great, join the movement, lock us in, and subscribe today. So a couple more thoughts on this Niners win on top of the postgame show that I did earlier after our watch party. Appreciate everybody who tuned in, 140,000 people throughout the day. The Niners are now 9-4 going into the bye week. I want people to think about that. Now, I thought San Francisco this year was going to be able to reverse their record from last year. I thought after going 6-11, they were going to be able to go 11-6 because the schedule lined up in a pretty easy way. I still like some of the marquee core players on this team. And from a coaching staff standpoint, Kyle Shanahan, Brant Boyer, Robert Saleh, I thought the Niners were worthy of being an 11-win ball club. Well, here we are with a stretch run to come after the bye week. They're already at 9 wins, but going into this year, if I would have told you that on the final day of November, San Francisco would have this record, they'd be a playoff team, they'd be in the running for the number 1 seed in the NFC and in the NFC West, having lost Nick Bosa in week 3, Fred Warner shortly after that, once again being one of the most injured teams in football, losing players left and right. If I would have told you that they would have this record with Brock Purdy missing 8 games, you would tell me that I'm crazy. I would tell myself that I was crazy, right? And that's why the Niners have to feel great about where they are right now. And here's the thing. I think that they can continue to get better. And as we're about to talk about later on, the NFC and the NFL as a whole is so wide open. There is not one team that we can pinpoint and say today they are going to win a Super Bowl. I think the AFC top to bottom kind of stinks. Who is the best team in the NFC? The Rams today lost as 10-point favorites on the road against the Panthers. They have lost 2 games this year when they've been 8.5-point favorites over the Niners and 10-point favorites over the Panthers. The Philadelphia Eagles are free-falling. The Chicago Bears are the number 1 seed. The Green Bay Packers are so up and down. The Buccaneers haven't been good in a month. The Seahawks, dangerous team, but Sam Darnold has big game hiccups. The Green Bay Packers are bipolar. The scariest team in the NFC right now might be the Dallas Cowboys, and if the season were to end right now, they would not be a playoff team. And so the field is so open, which makes from here on out really exciting for Niner fans and really exciting for this ball club. And that's why Kyle Shanahan said after the game, I really like where we're at. And he's proud of his football team, and he should be. And this is what you get when you have an elite coach and coaching staff. A lot of other teams, their season would have been over a month ago. The Niners are in it because Kyle Shanahan is showing everybody why he's one of the top coaches in the NFL. Robert Saleh is showing everybody why he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. And how about this much maligned special teams unit? Since week 4, when they gave up that 87-yard punt return to the Jags and Parker Washington, they've been pretty damn good. Skyy Moore giving them a boost. Matt Gay and Eddie Pinheiro at kicker doing a good job. Thomas Morstead at punter doing a fine job. And on the coverage side of things, they've been holding up. So all things considered, with all of the adversity that the Niners have had to deal with, they're just in a really good position right now. As far as this game today, I thought the storyline of it, the Niners were very opportunistic. What I mean by that, they turned Brown's mistakes into big plays and points, and the Niners turned their own big plays into points, and they capitalize in a lot of areas today where they didn't leave a lot of meat on the bone. And you think about how they scored their 3 touchdowns today, right? Skyy Moore, had that 66-yard punt return that then led to a Christian McCaffrey touchdown. The defense got a huge stop, short yardage situation on fourth down. A few plays later, Brock Purdy touchdown. The Browns muffed the punt. A few plays later, Brock Purdy hits Jauan Jennings for a touchdown. Those are the 3 touchdowns that the Niners scored in this game. And also, speaking of the Niners making big plays in big spots and capitalizing, all of those touchdowns came on third downs. And since Brock Purdy has come back, the Niners have been pretty damn good on third downs. That's the playmaking that he gives you. Another thing, too, it's been well documented. Talked about it all week. Talked about it in the pregame show today. Brock Purdy has struggled in bad weather. 2023 against Cleveland. 2024 divisional round against Green Bay. The Bills game in the snow. The Rams game in the rain. He was not good in those games, and he couldn't put any velocity behind the ball. He struggled to grip the football. And so for him to go out there today in the cold, bad weather, wet, gloomy, cloudy, freezing, and deliver some strikes downfield, and to have success throwing the ball and look comfortable in doing so, I'm talking about. And that's how you want your $265 million quarterback to respond coming off the game that he had against Carolina. And some people might say, you beat the Cleveland Browns. Look at what they've done to quarterbacks this year. Myles Garrett now has 19 sacks on the year. Look at how they flew to the ball today. Their defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, is a top 5 DC in the game. So you can't take this team lightly. The Niners did not. And they played, and Purdy played well against one of the better defenses in the NFL, where on the other side, their offense never helps them out, which is what makes the Browns defense and what they do even more impressive. For Kyle Shanahan, in his career, he had been owned by Jim Schwartz. He was 1-8 all time. And the offensive guru that he is, his offenses against Schwartz were held to 15 points per game. Well, Shanahan won that matchup today. I like how Kyle Shanahan moved the pocket for Brock Purdy, utilizing his mobility to Purdy's advantage for him to make plays in the pass game and to kind of neutralize that feared Browns defensive line. I thought Purdy moved around really well, and that was a really good sign. And I know his numbers weren't crazy, but eye test tells you he played really well. The touchdown on the read option, smart play. Ripping that touchdown throw to Jauan Jennings, also on third down, really nice throw. The deep throw to George Kittle to set up the 3 points before halftime, high-level throw. Some of the other throws that he had downfield, big boy type of throws from Brock Purdy. Now, this Niners offensive line, they did give up a lot of pressures, but they only gave up 1 sack to Myles Garrett. And that, at the end of the day, is a win. Trent Williams got beat by Myles Garrett for that sack. That's great against great. The guy has 19 sacks this year. I think he's going to beat Michael Strahan's sack record for the most sacks in a single season, which has been in place since 2001. The guy's been on an unbelievable heater of a season and a run, and he's one of the best players of all time. Chalk it up as you're going to get beat at times. So while the pressures are a little bit concerning, that's why I like Shanahan moving the pocket a little bit. And the Niners, for the most part, moving the pocket and blocking, double teaming Myles Garrett, they kind of held him in check. They did not let him ruin the game. Some other Niners who I thought flashed today and may have fallen under the radar, I thought Spencer Burford at left guard had some really good reps. I thought Keon White along the defensive line was really good. And obviously that's on top of Cleveland Ferrell, who had 2 sacks today and has 3 sacks in his last 2 games. And he's ended up being a really good bargain pickup for the Niners, and I liked it at the time. And it just seems as though he was a bust with the Raiders, top 5 pick. He's been good with the Niners in 2023 and now. Just stay with the Niners. And I think San Francisco should prioritize bringing him back next offseason to be a depth piece at defensive end behind Mykel Williams and Nick Bosa, because in this scheme, he works. And so with all that being said, I kind of alluded to this earlier. Let me get to this. In a wide open NFC, why can't the Niners compete to win it? Why not San Francisco? Why not? Again, going back to what I queued up earlier, definitively You can't tell me who the best team in the NFC is, because every team either has holes, is struggling, has shown and displayed some concerning trends. And you can't say with confidence that that one team is the team to beat in the NFC, because the team that everybody was saying was the Super Bowl favorite, not just the NFC favorite, was the Rams going into today. They lost against the Carolina Panthers, the same Carolina Panthers team that the Niners drubbed last week. The Rams earlier in the year, 8.5-point favorites, lost at home to the Niners. The Rams today, 10-point favorites against Carolina, lose. Chicago, 9-3. They polished off Philadelphia and they were so dominant. They ran for nearly 300 yards. Their defense has been very opportunistic. They have now generated 26 turnovers on the year. That's number one in the NFL. But this Bears team has absolutely no playoff experience. And analytically, they're one of the worst 9-3 teams when you look at DVOA and point differential in the history of football. The Eagles started off really well, 8-2. They've now lost 2 games in a row. They blew a 21-0 lead against the Cowboys, and they got pummeled by the Bears. And their offense freaking sucks, and it's really struggling. And they have a lot of work to do on offense in order to climb out of that. The Bucs got a much-needed win today. They're 7-5, leading the NFC South, but the Panthers could still win that division. The Panthers also now have 7 wins, and the Buccaneers haven't really played that well for like a month. The Seahawks beat the Vikings today, but the Vikings are on their 3rd quarterback of the season. Minnesota is awful. They got shut out for the first time in a long time. And so Seattle is really good, but Sam Darnold has all of these big game hiccups. The Green Bay Packers are 8-3-1, but they're so bipolar, Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know which team you're going to get. And I would take the Niners to match up with Green Bay. Detroit and Dallas are on the outside looking in. And the Niners have the 7th seed, the final wildcard spot at 9-4. And so right now, 1 seed Bears, 2 seed Rams, 3 seed Eagles, 4 seed Bucks, 5 seed Seahawks, 6 seed Packers, 7 seed Niners. Among all those teams, the team that I'm actually worried about the most, that I think is playing the best football right now, they've won 3 games in a row. The Quinnen Williams trade has changed their defense. Their offense is fireworks. It's electric. It's great. It's the Dallas Cowboys. But if the season were to end right now, they're not even in the playoffs. And they still have a lot of work to do. They're 6-5-1. So what has to happen for the Niners to truly compete in the NFC? In any playoff game, the offense is going to have to carry. The defense is going to have to play very well, and they're going to have to win the turnover battle. And I'm not going to say the defense is going to have to play perfect or the offense is going to have to play perfect, but they're going to have to play out of their minds. But it's completely possible with this coaching staff that the Niners could pull off an upset in the wild card round, and then they could win in the divisional round. And all of a sudden, you're in the NFC Championship game. And when things get tight, anything can happen in a game like that. Shoot, if the Niners win the division or they have a top 4 seed, they host a playoff game at Levi Stadium. You win that, you're feeling good about yourselves. And so the Niners remaining schedule, 9-4 right now. Bye week, Titans, Colts, Bears, Seahawks. Those last 3 games are hard. You should beat the Titans. That gives you 10 wins. How many of the last 3 can you win? Colts, Bears, Seahawks. Well, the Colts haven't been playing that well for like a month. The Bears, I think, are a beatable team. And you already beat the Seahawks in week 1. The Bears remaining schedule. Remember, they're the number 1 seed right now. This is the hardest schedule among all teams that we're talking about here. Packers, Browns, Packers again, Niners, Lions. I don't think that they're going to lose out, but that's a schedule in which they could if things don't go their way. And that's a schedule that by far hardest for any NFC playoff team that's left. Packers, Browns, Packers, Niners, Lions. They're going to be competing with the Packers to win the division. The Browns are feisty. That game against the Niners could determine a playoff spot. And then the Lions and Bears could be playing for a playoff spot the final week. The Rams, everybody thought, including me, they were definitely going to lose against Carolina. I was thinking that they could run the table. Remaining, they have Cardinals, Lions, Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals. So it was so big for the Rams to lose that game to the Panthers because a lot of those games are winnable. The NFC West could come down to that Seahawks game. Rams won the first one. The Buccaneers' remaining schedule: Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers. 2 games left against the Panthers. Those games are going to be huge. I like the Bucs against the Saints. I like the Bucs against the Falcons. But divisional games, anything can happen. And the Dolphins just won again today. They're kind of hot. The Packers, Bears, Broncos, Bears, Ravens, Vikings. Not an easy schedule. The Seahawks, Falcons, Colts, Rams, Panthers, Niners. They've kind of had an easy schedule like the Rams have had all year. But that Colts game, that's at home. They get the Rams at home. They got to go on the road to play the Panthers. And they have to go on the road to play the Niners. The Cowboys' remaining schedule. This game on Thursday is huge between the Cowboys and the Lions. I mean, winner might be out of the playoff hunt just because of record. Cowboys could also win the NFC East if the Eagles continue to free fall. But the Cowboys have Lions, Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, Giants. It's kind of an easy schedule outside of the Lions and the Chargers. The Lions, they have Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears. That's a hard schedule as well. So when I say the world is in front of the Niners here, the world is in front of the Niners, and we're not just talking about San Francisco vying for a wild card spot. They could vie for a top 4 seed realistically with where they are right now win-loss wise, what they have left, and what these other teams also have remaining on their schedules. Fascinating. This is why the NFL is king, man. It never disappoints. Sunday night game tonight, no playoff implications for the Niners. Broncos, Commanders. Commanders are out. Broncos are the number 1 seed in the AFC. All right, I'll be back in the studio tomorrow to kick off the month of December. Isn't that crazy? Wow, we're already there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks to everybody who watched this show, the post-game show, the watch party. You're all real ones, and we'll catch you soon.